y'all. Hey, welcome back to my channel. It is Christian here, and you're tuned in for more of my 2 cents. Thank you so much for joining me and for coming over here to my part of the YouTube verse, okay? If you are new, then welcome. If you're returning, then thank you so much for coming back. Hopefully you have subscribed to the channel by now. You have liked a couple of videos. You've watched them all. Just binge them, honey. I got all kinds for you to watch and enjoy, and I look forward to adding more to the collection. 3 points that I say matter most before we start any story, topic of conversation, or discussion. Number 1, you're not alone. Number 2, you're not crazy. Number 3, God, your creator, still loves you, and I do too. Recently, I've started reading some stories that you guys have been sending in to me, as well as finding some different topics, religion-based threads on Reddit that I just want to react to live, because this stuff is, the experiences in church are real. And I'm pretty sure at some point I'll, start sharing stories beyond church, beyond religion. But for right now, I think that it's a very good topic of conversation and discussion when a lot of people are trying to figure out where they belong. Like, everybody want to be a part of something. Everybody want to be involved in a group or in a organization or in something that adds value to their lives or makes them feel included or welcome or needed or connected. And so that's where church comes in. For me, that was a big part of my life. And so that's why I like to share these stories and talk about these experiences with you guys. So let's jump into today's email, okay? I'm excited because it's from a teenager, okay? So anytime that your girl can tap into a teenager, honey, I'm here for it, okay? I am here for it. And I love that the content on this channel is clearly logical enough and broken down enough to where everybody get it, because I don't be trying to be super deep over here. So thank you so much for sending this in. Y'all do not be including names, and I'm not mad at that. I mean, I can see your email address, but I'm okay with this. I'm okay with the anonymous of it all right? Keep it on the low. Don't nobody need to know. The subject line for this email was, "Don't invite me again." Well, we get the message. And we're going to keep the theme going with the youth group experiences. This might be Youth Week, honey. You know how they have Shark Week? We got Youth Week, all right? Sharks, youth. Ooh, the sharks are the adults. The youth are the prey. Okay, let's get into the story. Don't invite me again. So he said, "Not sure this fits the stories you're looking for, but I wanted to share a weird experience I recently had at a friend's church. I'm a 17-year-old, and I recently went to a youth group meeting at a church for the first time in a while. And I forgot about how awful it is. We started out by discussing what God had been teaching us lately. This one girl said that she was reading Joshua and said that God was teaching her obedience because the Israelites conquered and killed all these people because God told them to. And that really shows how devoted they were. It's truly amazing." Now, this is what another youth, was sharing God taught her this week: obedience. And in that, used the story of Joshua, well, not the story, a story in Joshua, talking about the Israelites conquering after killing people because God told them to. This is again why I say that, the Bible can be used as, fables and encouraging stories to make you feel as if though you can slay your demons. I was going to say dragons, child. This is not Game of Thrones. Slay your demons, okay? I don't think that is the comparison I would want my children to make in life. Be obedient to me because this is what the Israelites was able to do when they listened to God. They was able to have it all because they did what he said, which included a lot of people ended up dead. That's not the way religion should go. But this is the interpretation of children. Let's keep going. There were, of course, nodding of heads all across the room. I was looking around like, am I the only one who sees something wrong with that? I'm just saying. No, you're not the only one that sees something wrong with that being the correlation and comparison for being obedient, okay? But all right. One girl was talking about how she realized that God has a plan for us all. She was apparently stuck behind a car that was going slow and was mad about it. Then a few minutes later, down the road, there was a car wreck. She said that she said that if she hadn't been stuck behind the car, that accident would have been her and taken her life. The lesson that we were supposed to have learned from that was that you should always trust and be happy with the circumstance that you're in, because God has a plan for you. Okay, so I too have felt like this, or have sentiments like this to a certain extent, of whatever's happening or wherever you are right now is where you're supposed to be. And I still believe that. I really do. I believe that where you are is where you're meant to be, what you've attracted to your situation, and what just is. Now, I will also say that there are some things that just really don't, have to connect like that. Like if you're sitting in traffic, there's a wreck ahead. There could have still been a wreck ahead, whether you were there or not, and you probably wouldn't have been involved in it. There are a lot of possibilities and a lot of variables that are unknown. So it is always easier when you're in religious settings and these spiritual, spaces where people can make everything seem like you could have been a part of. This could have happened to you. With what if you were there? But you weren't. You wasn't there, so it didn't happen to you, right? The what ifs should not outweigh the what happened. Okay? I'm just saying. Now, this always fits into the narrative of God is always leading us and guiding us and keeping us safe and watching over us and covering us. And if that is your belief, you will always make things line up with that belief. That's on you. That's your freedom to do. But I'm telling you right now that as a young person, having that in your mind, you'll start literally plucking situations out of random nothingness to make it align with your beliefs. And you'll have this as your thought process, even when it had nothing to do with that, but that's what serves you. So you'll keep going with that narrative. This 17-year-old is sitting here and it's like, okay. And I get it as a kid, as a young adult, because he's 17, so I guess that's technically a young adult. I know 18 is, but whatever. You kind of can see through some of this stuff, and you just realize that people want to please other people. And naturally so, that is a characteristic of most humans, to be accepted by their peers, those around them, and to connect on a level where you guys have the same experiences or the same beliefs. And it sounds like this is what this is. This young girl, or these young girls, knew that this is what they're supposed to do, how they're supposed to talk, how they're supposed to fantasize, being connected, being obedient, being at the right place at the right time, and all things working for their good. All of that streamlines into scripture and what you're taught at church. So yeah, I get it. He said there were a lot of more statements like that made me cringe, but those are my favorites. When I got asked, I said that God didn't teach me anything. Now remember, the question is, what did God teach you this week? What was the lesson you learned this week in your life from the Lord? Oh boy said, God didn't teach me anything. Who child? They probably was ready to eject and usher his ass up out of there. Okay? All right? Like, this is not the room for you, honey. Go up there with the big people. Go up there with the adults. They don't listen either. God ain't teaching them nothing either. Go up there. I got the typical pity stares, anger, and then someone whispered, I'll pray for you. Then the message started. It basically boiled down to people watch the royal wedding because they long to be royalty. Now, this is this 17-year-old's takeaway. This young man said, basically his experience boiled down to people watch the royal wedding because they long to be royalty. Honey, shout outs to you for understanding, okay? Because this is giving very much good takeaway intellect, all right? I like this. He said they want a king to rule over them, and they want a God. This is accuracy. This is accuracy. Oh my gosh. Yes. Now, what I will take from the people watch the royal wedding because they long to be royalty, and I don't know, it may be a quote. He has it in quotation, so clearly somebody said it. Or maybe he's just saying, like, people want, people watch this because they want to be it. I just kind of alluded to that in my statement a little while ago when I said that these young girls are impressionable, and they know that in this environment, what their tone or what their conversation or what their speech should be like, what people want to hear from them. So they're saying that, right? You're looking at this, you're looking at Christianity, you're looking at religion, you're looking at salvation, and you want that. So what can I say? What can I do to make it appear that I have it, that I'm there, that I've arrived, that this is me, this is my life, I am connected, right? Like, oh my God, you're not. Like, God led me behind that car that was driving slow to protect me. You want this. You want all of your life experiences to add up to this big sum total of, grandiose, encounters or experiences. And I just have to tell you guys that that is the narrative in the storyline for a lot of people in religion. They want it. They want what they see someone else with. They want the relationship that other people have in God. They want the notoriety. They want the titles. They want the position. They want to be called. They want to be chosen. They want to be loved. They want to have a gift. They want to have a skill. That's why you have people out here doing prayer institutes. You have people out here doing prophetic training courses. You have all of these things because people want that. They want to have that. It looks like something that would be, lucrative or be highly respected, that'll be deep, that'll get them notoriety, that will get them an audience, that will get them love and attention and validation. And it starts right here where you're using, I'm not going to say the most petty, but you're using the simplest basic life encounters or experiences and turning them into spiritual encounters and experiences because you want it to be more. And I can relate. I can understand that. I really can. I will never forget. I'm going to share this story. Well, let me finish this first, and I'm going to share a story about my little butterfly purse, because that was my experience of wanting to be in. And God, I was such a child. I was childish. But this is a very good story because I was so impressionable and I had no idea. So he finishes all by saying, but really though, youth group is effing weird. I can't believe people eat this S up. So, sorry for the long post. Hopefully it will amuse someone else too. I love your channel and will keep watching to hear other stories like mine to see if it will ever make sense. Yes! Thank you. Thank you so much for saying you love the channel. Thank you for watching and for sharing your story. I appreciate you, and hopefully you find and you hear some of the stories that definitely will make you feel like, oh yeah, I'm not alone. But the title took me out. Don't invite me again. Like, don't invite me back to your church. Whatever we did at that youth group, I ain't like that. Don't talk about it at school either, because I don't want to talk about that. So before I go, I want to share a story that I had from when I was younger. And I was, what grade was I in? Was I like in the 4th grade? I think I was like in the 3rd or 4th grade, you guys. My cousin and I was in Mississippi. The cousin that I've also made a video about. Go watch it, okay? About how jealousy ruined my family. But at the time we were kids, and we had went to the mall, and we went to Limited 2. I don't know if y'all remember Limited 2. It was a little teeny bopper store, very bright, colorful, butterflies everywhere, bright color clothes, t-shirts, tank tops, little purses, little butterflies for your hair, things like that back in that day. And so my cousin and I had got some money. I don't know what we did to get this money, but we only had like $14 each. So we went to Limited 2 to get something, and we ended up getting these black purses. I remember this purse like it was today, okay? We got these black purses that matched. Hers had a green and pink butterfly on it, which she ended up becoming an AKA, okay? And I had a purple and pink butterfly child, and I ended up becoming nothing Greek. But we got to the register to pay for our purses. She paid for her purse with the cash that she had. And y'all, I went to pay for my purse. So I'm counting my dollars, and I'm not even lying to y'all. That money multiplied in my hands. Now, I don't know who did what, how it happened, what took place, but I had $14, y'all. By the time I got to that cash register, I think I ended up having like $22. It was a significant amount more than what I should have had, okay? And I'm just telling y'all, I counted it one time and it was 14 at the register, and then when I counted it again, it was more money. I'm not lying to y'all, okay? But my point is, well, I I say I'm not lying to y'all, but I don't know. It could have been a matter of mind where I made it up. But I'm just telling y'all the story how I remembered it. And I was so shocked, and I know that I had extra money because afterwards we ended up going to the food court and getting Chick-fil-A. This was back in the day when Chick-fil-A actually tasted different back in the day too, but that's a different conversation. We went to Chick-fil-A and I got both of us chicken sandwiches. I remember, and I was only like in the 3rd and 4th grade, and this is my point of like, when you're in these religious settings, because we were heavy in church. Her dad was a pastor, had a church. My mom is an evangelist. They were brother and sister. And my mom was like always preaching and teaching and, you know, prophesying and things like that. So I correlated it to church. Like, God blessed me with extra money. Like, I experienced a miracle. I actually testified about it on that Sunday when I got to their church. Oh my God. I testified about how more money appeared at the cash register and limited too. Because when you're in it, you're in it. Like when you're experiencing it and it's your life, everything surrounding that like attracts to you. It's like you make more testimonies come. You make more spiritual experiences and encounters and miraculous events take place because that's where your mind is. Like this person said, people who watch the royal wedding, they do it because they long to be royalty. Like you watch other people giving testimonies and having great things happen and God doing this and moving like that and providing this, and you're like, oh, I got something to say too, man. Like me too. Like I'm chosen, I'm favored. God showed up for me, and then let me tell y'all what deflated that bubble so quickly. That was in Mississippi, right, where I shared that happened. Everybody was clapping for me and so excited, looking at my little black purse with a butterfly on it. But I get back to Indiana, where the MFers don't move like that, okay? Get back to Gary, Indiana, my hometown, and I'm at school, and I'm so young and impressionable, y'all. We had circle time at school on the carpet, and I'm like 3rd, 4th grade, y'all. I'm sitting there amongst my peers. When my teacher finished story time, she asked about like our spring break or something like that. I don't know how we got on the topic, but your girl ended up sharing the story of having more money added to my hand while I was buying this purse. And I was so excited about sharing the story. And one of my classmates, Lewis Miller, rest his soul, he passed away a couple of years ago. He said that I was on drugs. He said that I was high. He basically was making fun of me. He was like, that didn't happen, girl. Yeah. He said something like, yeah, you probably was high. That's why you saw extra money. And I was so mad. Like everybody else started laughing. And I was so mad. I said, I shut him down. I think that may have been the first time I actually stood up for myself. And after that, it was all she wrote, child. I've been giving my 2 cents ever since. But I know I shut him down. I was like, you need to be quiet or something like that. But whatever I said at the time was like, ooh, like I shut him down. You know, I got him up off me in my miracle story. All right. Because you don't have no Peter Popoff miracle water on your money. But I did, honey. But yeah, it got deflated quickly because it wasn't a church setting. Like I was back in what you would call the world and trying to share that spiritual story as a 3rd grader. And he was like, what are you talking about, girl? You must have been high. And that hurt my little feelings. But I just wanted to share that story because even as a kid, I was that impressionable about my church experience and lifestyle that I wanted to share those stories and all of that. Like what you experience as in your life becomes what you live. Like you live what you learn. And so I was living that. I wanted to share that miracle story with my 3rd grade peers because I was excited, right? Not realizing they weren't saved. So they couldn't understand how the Lord multiplied my money like the fish and the loaves, okay? Yeah, so anyway, that's my story. Thank you for sharing your story with me. If you would love to share your story, give my 2 cents and my unbiased take on it, please drop down in the description box below and visit the link. Well, not the link, but just send an email to mytwocentmatters@gmail.com. I would love for these stories to be, well, not the stories, but the videos to be a little bit longer. So if you guys send me shorter stories, I might start piecing them together and doing 2 stories on one video, giving quick commentary in between, and try to keep the videos, you know, between 15 and 25 minutes. But honey, if we get there and the Lord starts leading and guiding and the stories start flowing, the mooring, I will be able to extend this for y'all. Just plug it in, work, do whatever you got to do and listen to these stories, because I love doing that. Like, I love good story times on YouTube. I find myself working and knocking out my goals throughout the day when I have one person to listen to and a lot of videos to just keep me going. So thank you guys. Go ahead, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I would love to add you to my 2 cents crew. Until next time, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.